Hope you've had some fun, had a good time, right state of mind. Well, I'm here to do what I like to call the raid recap. I think other content creators do it. I'm just going to break it down real easy for you. As you can see, I'm just running raid right now, just doing some spider, getting some silver because I ran out of silver upgrading stuff during the last artifact event. Well, let's talk about the raid recap, shall we? I'm going to get rid of this here for a sec. Poof. Hey, wow, my God, would you look at that? We're at the 5.5 highlights. So I'm just going to break this down real quick. TLDR, like too long didn't read, and I'm just going to tell you. Forge improvements. They've gone through a list from the community and the support team and come up with some adjustments. We will now be able to make 10 artifacts at a time. We will also be able to use 10 of each of the charms that you put in there, right? Now, say you don't have enough for 10. That's fine. It's going to use up as many as you have left if you want it to. That's great. The animation can now be skipped, making it faster. Awesome. And the game will remember your chosen artifact ranks when you switch between sets. That's pretty cool. Advanced Quest will now send you to the specific artifact in the forge that you need to craft, like a resilience piece or perception. That's handy. And on top of that, they're going to adjust faction wars to allow us to preserve the balance between epic and legendary materials. Because you've probably been like me where you've gotten too many legendary materials and you don't have enough epic materials. And that happens, I guarantee, to the majority of the player base, right? We'll hit another thing here. Tag Team Arena tiers, they're expanding them. Great. That should help out a lot of people get into, gold and then stay in gold. I think this is going to be like their soft solution for letting people be able to stay into gold and be able to get the legendary book when you need it, or the rank and rarity charms, which are really the hodgepodge, which you really want, or the refresh and cleansing artifacts. So that's pretty fun. Scroll down a little bit. Turn limit counter, they're adjusting that. I'm not going to touch on it very much. They're just going to give us a notification. We'll be able to see the current turn and maximum number of turns available in Doom Tower battles. So it'll give you anxiety. If you're running too long and you see you're starting to get to the end, holy shit. All right. And this guy's pretty cool. He is the new fragment summon. This is Bivald of the Thorn. Sacred Order, Spirit, Champ, HP based, legendary. I like him. His A1 will attack an enemy. 30% chance, books up to 50 to place a provoke for a turn. That's cool. It'll heal the ally with the lowest HP by 50% of the damage inflicted. Provoke debuff can be placed even if this attack lands as a weak hit. That's pretty good. And that actually has it for the Leech and Provoke for his A2. And yeah, so we'll get into it. His A2, Admonition of the Barbs, attacks all enemies 2 times. The first hit will book up to 100% chance placing Provoke for 1 turn. Pretty standard. The second hit has a 100% chance when booked to place a Leech for 2 turns. And it will also put a 25% strengthen on this champion. That's pretty good. Leech and Provoke can be placed even if this is a weak hit. So he's going to be great for Magma Dragon. He's going to be great, I think, for generally all content. I like the look of him when I saw him in game. I think he generally looks like a very, aesthetically, like I always say, Raid does a really good job with their visual department. So looks like it'll book down to 3 turns. That's pretty good. 3-turn cooldown with a 1-turn Provoke, but a 2-turn Leech. Not bad. Briar Nexus. Attacks all enemies. Damage will increase by 5% for each debuff on each enemy. There's no cap to it. There's none. There's no cap to it. It's going to be fucking... I think if his multiplier is ridiculous on this, I'm thinking just in dungeons, he's going to be a monster. He'll attack all enemies, increases by 5% for each debuff on each enemy. Also heals all allies by 20% of the damage inflicted and places a shield on them for 2 turns equal to 20% of the damage inflicted. This book's down to 4 turns. I'm like, please, baby Jesus, please let this be a great fragment champion. A lot of people are saying this is like another Herndig, and I believe him. I think this will be a great champion. I'm going to go for him. His passive is Dethorned. He'll decrease the damage taken by all allies when the enemy is under a Provoke debuff. That's pretty good. Aura is increases HP in all battles over 28%. Now, let's get into the reworks of epic champions, right? There's a lot of poo-poo epic champions. They're not all Magnar. They're not all Well, they're not all Madame Saris, right? They're not all Eurogrim. Well, even Eurogrim's not Eurogrim like what it used to be. Give me 1 sec here. We're going to do this here quick. Beep boop. Get out of that. Go here. I love RSL Helper. It makes it so nice. You just hit that. You click on RSL Helper. Run effective resources. Let her rip. All right. Let's get back on topic here. Necro Hunter, he's having a change. Before, he would attack an enemy. He'd have 50% chance attacking all enemies with an extra hit. 4-turn cool. Or is that A1? No, it's a 4-turn cooldown. And then after it's now attacks an enemy, it will attack all enemies 1 time if this attack is critical. That's pretty decent. I think his multiplier is actually pretty good too, from what I remember, right? His Tombstalker ability, he'll attack an enemy, places Perfect Veil buff on this champion for 2 turns. If this attack is critical, that was a 5-turn cooldown. This is the prior. Now, after the patch, he'll place a Perfect Veil buff on him for 2 turns if the attack is critical with a 4-turn cooldown. Yeah. He will now get an aura that increases ally crit rate in all battles by 19%. So that's actually going to help out a lot with like your early game guys and, you know, some of your mid game guys when you're just like, you're not getting 100% crit rate just yet. Kalia. Yeah, man, I can't tell you how many times I pulled her and been bummed. I think I have one still in my vault that I'm like, ooh, I should just feed her, you know, but she's getting a buff. So let's take a look at it. The before was, will attack an enemy, 30% chance of placing HP burn debuff for 2 turns. Heals this champion by 20% of the damage inflicted when Aether is on the same team. After, will attack an enemy, 30% chance of placing HP debuff for 2 turns. Oh, so it's just damage increased. I'm sorry. So damage increased. This has been buffed. Her Cursive Nullity. Attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of placing 100% heal reduction for 2 turns. Heals this champion by 10% of the damage inflicted when Aether is on the same team. 4-turn cooldown, so that stayed the same. Increase the damage and increase the chance. Perfect. Okay. I don't really think anybody was using her for a heal reduction, but I don't think anybody's pairing her with Aether either. Flame Tempest. Before was attack 3 times at random. Each hit has 6% chance of placing HP burn debuff for 2 turns. Will heal her by 15%. This is now attacks 3 times at random. Each hit places, just straight up places, HP burn debuff for 2 turns. Good change. And then heals by 15% of the damage dealt, and the damage is increased. So she actually might be a little viable for stuff now. Frostbringer. Ooh, there's some small text here. My old man eyes. Oh, don't need it that bad. Before was attack 2 times at random for her Cones of Cold. 50% chance of placing 100% heal reduction for 2 turns. Now this is 2 times at random. 30% chance of placing 100% heal reduction debuff for 2 turns. So up, increased by 15%. And the scaling they've changed on her Snow Flurry. 3 times at random, 6% decrease defense for 2 turns. If the target has a heal reduction, they've increased, looks like, the damage and the debuff chance. So they've just compiled all the damage into the first 2 tiers, and then debuff chance here for 4 and 5 level, and then decrease the cooldown. That's pretty good. And now it's 75% chance, and it books up to 100 of placing decreased defense. That's actually not bad. Frostbringer, solid. The meme, Woad Painted. Opening up Sacreds, and you get a Woad Painted. That's the meme in Raid. That's just how it is. Well, let's take a look at her. What'd you do to her? Before, her cross-up will attack an enemy 2 times, 25% chance, placing block active skills for a turn. They have changed it so that she'll attack an enemy 2 times, 25% chance of placing a block debuff skill for 2 turns, so that's the same. It says damage will be based on HP alone instead of attacking HP, so that's good. That's what they need to do. We can't have these hybrid characters, just one or the other, please. Like Mountain King, just make him HP. Like they did with Drexlar. He used to be attack, and now he's just straight up defense because he's a defensive champion. Undying Fury removes all debuffs from this champion, then fully heals his champion by 30%. Fully heals his champion, and then places 30% reflect damage buff on her for 2 turns, 5-turn cooldown. It will now remove all debuffs from this champion and 1 random debuff from all allies, then heals this champion by 100% of their max HP and heals all allies, equal to 50% of the surplus heal. That's pretty good. Afterwards, will place a 30% reflect damage on all allies for 2 turns. Then grants this champion an extra turn. 5-turn cooldown. That's actually pretty good. So if you don't have like a very good Fire Knight team, she's great for that, because if you do the reflect damage of Fire Knight, he boom hit and knocks down his own shield. It's actually kind of effective. A lot of people like to use Feldhound for that. A lot of people, early game people like to do that. Unless you have a bunch of multi-hitters and you got lucky on your pulls. And then her overpower attacks one enemy, 75% chance of placing block active skills debuff for 2 turns. Damage inflicted is proportional to this champion's max HP. Well, what'd they change it to? Attacks an enemy, 75%, same thing. Damage will be based on HP alone instead of attacking HP. That's pretty good. And then her base speed got increased by 5. That's actually kind of a big thing. I still kind of feel like she's a support champ, but she's HP based, so not bad. I mean, nothing big. They're epics. If you're like me, it's meh. Like, you're probably not going to use these guys. Me now, it's like, well, I really need this Void epic. Or like the Doom Tower epics are very decent, and you're like, oh, those don't, not game changers, but they're helpful. Let's see, what else do we got here? The guaranteed champion. I don't have him on screen currently, but let's go get him, shall we? Let's do this here real quick. We are just going to get out of Doom Tower so I can show you this champion. This champion's a barbarian. His name is Raf-Matab. Let's go over skills quick. He'll attack an enemy. His damage gets increased with books. It's called Elder Spear. 50% chance of increasing the cooldown of one of the target's skills by 2 turns. The chance increases by 100% if the target has 50% HP or less. A2 attacks all enemies. When booked, will place a 100% chance to place provoke. Will also place block damage on this champion for a turn. It comes down to a 3-turn cooldown. Not bad. And he's HP based, so I'm hoping he hits hard. I haven't looked at his scaling yet. Shield of the Clans will place increased resistant buff and 30% reflect damage buff on all allies for 2 turns. Books to a 4-turn cooldown. That's actually pretty good. And then we got Brawny Surge. His resistance is increased by 50 when when his active skills are not on cooldown, so right at the beginning. His aura is increased ally resistance by 60 in all battles. He looks really cool. He kind of looks like Valkyrie's brother, I like his spear. I think he's meant to be like an Odin-esque champion with just the spear he's got here. It looks like Gungnir. And I like the, they do a good job. Like the spear, these little bird skulls here. Apparently he's not a fan of birds. Wolves on his belt. These are raven skulls. Yeah, this guy I'm very much digging like the All-Father look. Especially when Odin's usually depicted with like antlers nowadays. Especially after Marvel. Base speed's 97. Base HP's 22k. Not bad. 15, 50, 50, 10. But he's guaranteed after 120 shards. Now before... the only way you could get this guy was by opening up the shards, and that was it. You could never get him again. They have posted that they've actually changed their mind on that, and you can actually get him through regular shards for like the rest of the game, which is nice. Let's talk about the Hydra rework. Let's see here. It's not on this, is it? We'll just talk about Hydra here real quick. They're going to rework the Hydra, and it won't happen this rotation. It probably won't happen for a couple rotations, I'd assume, like a month or 2. The earlier stages will be easier, they said. Right? Who knows what that means? Does it mean like it's more predictable? Is it not so much random stuff? We do know that they're adding another head, and they are adding more difficulty levels to Hydra. So we might actually get like a hell level for Hydra, which would be insane. Take my hat off to anybody that can do it, because my clan and I, we still only do brutal and normal. Or I'm sorry, hard and normal. So after I got Mithrala, I really didn't see much use for doing that other than getting clan coins for the clan shop. That's it. We covered it. We did it, folks. Well, I want you to have a wonderful night, and I hope the world's treating you pretty good. You have any questions or comments, go ahead and post them down in the bottom. And I want you to have a wonderful weekend. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye now.